What's up? Just kind of wanted to do something that had been. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling through something that had been on my mind lately. And usually, if I feel like I want to do um a video about something, I'll forget the topic. But I didn't forget this topic, so I figured I would just go ahead and do it. But the topic was on Peter's denial. Peter's denial of Jesus. A lot of us already heard the story, and if you haven't, I'll give a quick um, makeshift story, I guess. It was late at night, and Jesus had been arrested, and he was being taken away to face trial. And his disciples, his closest friends, had all scattered. But Peter, I guess he was probably just torn between fear and loyalty. He was following at a distance. And in Luke, it tells us that Peter ended up in the courtyard at the high priest's house, warming himself by a fire and surrounded by strangers, soldiers, and servants and townspeople. And there's probably like a lot of tension going on. And people are whispering and pointing, and suddenly a girl looks closely at Peter and said, "This man was with Jesus." And in that moment, Peter panics and his heart probably starts pounding and fear floods his mind. And he's probably thinking, they're gonna kill me. And without thinking, he just says, I don't know him. And a little later, someone recognizes him and says, you're one of them. And again, Peter denies it and says, I'm not. He snaps. And finally, about an hour later, another man insists, you must be one of Jesus' followers. He says, you even look like a Galilean. And Peter swears, I don't know what you're talking about. And just as those words leave his mouth, a rooster crows. And it's at that exact moment, like Jesus beaten and bound and being led away, he turns around and looks Peter straight in the eyes. And, Peter's heart breaks. And he remembers Jesus' words where Jesus said, before the rooster crows today, you will deny me three times. And Peter's, overwhelmed by guilt and shame, and he weeps. And Peter's story hits hard because if we're being honest, we've all been Peter. Like maybe you haven't stood around a fire and said, I don't know Jesus, but we deny Jesus in other ways through our actions and our thoughts and even our doubts. We deny Jesus when we let worry consume us, even though he told us in Matthew chapter 6, verse 34, like, don't worry, when we carry guilt from our past, forgetting that he's already paid for our sins on the cross. And we deny him when we let other people's opinions define us, uh, knowing that he's given us grace. And just like Peter, we often do this under pressure when life feels overwhelming, when we're scared, when we feel like we're on our own, when we act out of fear instead of faith. But, here's what I love about Peter's story. It doesn't end in failure. After Jesus rose from the dead, he appeared to Peter and the other disciples in John 21, and Jesus gives Peter a chance to undo what he had done. And three times Jesus asks Peter, do you love me? And three times Peter answers, yes, yes, Lord, you know I love you. And Jesus doesn't condemn Peter. He doesn't bring up his past. He restores him fully and completely. And he gives Peter a mission, feed my sheep. And, Peter goes on to become one of the greatest leaders in the early church. So, uh, what I wanted you to hear today, Jesus isn't keeping record of your failures. He isn't holding your past over your head. He's waiting. He's ready to forgive you. He's waiting to restore you and use you, just like he did Peter. If you've been denying Jesus through your actions, through worry, guilt, or fear, it's not too late. You can turn back to him right now. His grace is greater than your biggest mistake. So, if this message encouraged you, please like this video, share it with someone and who needs it. And thank you. Just be blessed.